Well, I've been here 6.5 years and came up to work with the community. I'm also one of the international guardians of the community of Aden and Hilda. So this is home, for lots of reasons, has become actually a very precious place of belonging. It's not easy to come into a small community. It takes a while to be accepted in a place like this, and I can say that we now feel very much welcome and part of the community. We try to be good news where we live here, and that means getting involved in the life of the village and the future of the island. It is an amazingly peaceful place to be. A lot of the noises are natural sounds of the seals singing and the birds calling. Sometimes the wind howling too, because it can be a very windy place. But it is beautiful.
It's a unique place. I still, although I don't live here anymore, I'm still here almost every day of the week, and this is what I still consider to be home.
This is my 12th season, so I've done 11 seasons so far. 11 and a half years I've been here, and I plan to stay. I wouldn't like to live anywhere else now.
I think there are a number of threats. Some of them are particular to any small village community. They can be things like public transport. They can be things to do with some of the coastal issues. Many coastal communities have a certain amount of poverty that go with them. Or the fishermen here that catch crab and lobster, they can't actually get up the pots because the sea is too rough. So I'm not saying there isn't a living to be made, there is. So this is something which is deeply embedded in the local community here, and we want to do all we can to balance the need for really thoughtful conservation of the area. So it is an area of outstanding beauty. It is a conservation area. It's an area with wonderful wildlife and where Natural England do a lot of work. But it's also a marine biological reserve. So we have all of those things which we're wanting to promote.
We haven't had a facility, so there's a lot of things happening. A lot of things. There has been quite a bit of money invested for affordable housing to rent. If you've got a young fisherman and he decides to get married, he can't afford 350,000 quid for a 2-bedroom. So that aspect has been really, really good. There's been a lot of investment within the village from different aspects, which is positive, but there's still a long way to go. Gradually all that's changed, and unfortunately, although there's only a population of about 150, so the development of the village hall is vital because it gives a sense of community again. Unfortunately, it's an aging population, but there are a lot of kids now, so there's another generation coming through, which is vitally important for the community.
At the same time, we're wanting to enable the island community to be viable, not only for this generation, but for the next generation. Getting more visitors onto the island via boats would be another way of encouraging the shops, the hotels, the restaurants, the cafes to be viable. The tourists are vital to the well-being and the survival of the community.
You've thousands of people every weekend go down to Padstow and Newquay, and they've bought their property, and it doesn't really put much into the economy. But a lot of these people that go away for the weekend, they'll arrive with a box and a chiller box, their wine, their beer, their food, and maybe never set foot into a local shop. It's slightly different. People come, they'll eat in the hotels, they'll eat in the pubs, which is what you want to see, because it generates income and it keeps people employed during the winter.
One of the things that happens in small communities and island communities is that some people have a number of different jobs and they balance lots of things. So you might have somebody who works part-time servicing bed and breakfast accommodation, and when the guests have gone is out earning money doing something else. People who look after the properties which are let to holidaymakers on a weekly basis, and this is one of the real issues. There are only a few jobs on the island that really pay, but most of us do all sorts of things around looking after the huge number of people who come to visit. They love to see you come, they love to relieve you of a bit of money. It's very, very important that the islanders have a voice. There will be many other voices, but it's very important that the islanders find their voice and are able to express what they want. And that is usually a very wise and well thought through position, because they have to balance the "we don't want our island spoilt" with "we have to make this pay." And it's a very difficult balance to find and get right. And some people will argue with the particular investments that are made, but they have to receive the basic approval of the majority of people, or else you just wouldn't be able to live here, quite simply, because this island has the ability to make it impossible for you to live here if they don't like what you're doing.